I will repeat that when I show the result. It's not a tutorial as I said, but it doesn't hurt to explain stuff. Okay, I prefer having an addition for an offset. It makes more sense to me. Okay, I'm doing something wrong here. Okay, X, Y. Okay. That should work without that. Let's see what happens if I do that. Okay, here the problem is I lose my selection. Why? Because of that. So here we will need another variable to hold the dragging, and we will have to have difference between I am drawing a marquee selection or I am dragging an object. In the two situations you are starting with the same event and you are doing the same thing. You are starting with a click and you are holding the button and dragging. Here you start with a click and you hold the button and you are dragging. But the very difference between the two situations is where you click on first. If you click on a blank space, you will draw a marquee tool. If you click on an object, you will move the object. So you have to mirror this difference here and here. So for now it looks like a global situation. It's something a global variable I think should hold. I'm thinking of another situation. I could have a dragging boolean and check if an object has a dragging boolean set to true. I don't use that, etc., etc. But it's a little bit less. It mirror. I have problem pronouncing this word. It mirror less what we are thinking. We are thinking of something global. Are we in selection mode or drag and drop mode? So it's a mode. And by habits these days, instead of having mode 2.1 or mode 2.2, 1 being the selection mode, 2 being the drag and drop mode, I tend to have something more verbal with word. I could use a string. Is mode equal selecting, mode equal not selecting. But strings are, there's no check if you type the right string or not in your event. I prefer using a constant. I will set selecting constant to 0, constant, and drag and dropping, a dragging constant, okay, a dragging constant to 1. So I will be able to set mode to selecting or mode to dragging. The underlying value will be 0 and 1, but what I will see in the event is selecting or dragging. It will make way more sense. So okay, I will have to add mouse is over a sprite inverted. If I click and I'm over a sprite, I will be dragging. If I click and I'm not over a sprite, I will be selecting. So set value mode to selecting. and here mod to. I often make some sub event just for clarity. Selecting. I'm doing something wrong here. It's here and it's like that. That's the start of selection, and here start of drag and drop. Here's the start while selecting. So we have to check we are actually selecting objects. So we have to check we are in selection mode here. Mode selecting. Okay. This one will be right, will be true if you're even in drag and drop mode. Let me think. Yeah, I think that's okay like that. Here, selecting mode, and if we are selecting, okay, looks a bit okay, that's not working. Dragging, okay, looks right, the selecting isn't broken, and now that doesn't work. Okay, because I'm holding the button mode selecting, and here I forgot to change that to dragging. And I'm able to correct the problem fairly easily because I can read that something is wrong. When your code is readable, you can the code itself look wrong, and it's easier to pinpoint where something is going wrong. Okay, if I had dragging set to 1 or 2, I wouldn't be able to know what's going on. Okay, there are still issues though. Dragging, selected, mouse button is down, mode to dragging, selected, selection, left mouse button is down. Okay, we should be in selecting mode here. Yeah, there's selection here, selecting, that's logical. Okay, almost there. It's not working because, as I said earlier, I just made a simple drag and drop feature. It doesn't take into account grouping. I think I will, in the end, I will make both in the same group because the marketing is for selection. It makes slightly more sense, and I will be able to kind of group all the event that happens during selection here. So you can read on start of selection you are selecting, the position is set, the size set to 0, which 0 is the same as saying mouse x minus self x, since the position is the same. Okay. Button is down. There's a kind of a repetition here. Okay. Selected, not down. in whatever mode we are. If it's not done, it shouldn't show up. Okay, dragging. I will keep the same kind of formatting. Selecting here, dragging here, and if mouse is not down, nothing happened. Okay. So yeah, the selecting works, but the dragging doesn't. Why? Because pardon, when I'm here, the offset of the sprite object, I'm picking all the sprites that are in selection mode. If I'm like that, I'm only picking the sprites that are in selection mode. But if you look closely, I'm selecting all the two sprites here, and I'm dragging from the corner here. And you will see this sprite will jump right here. Okay? Why? Because its offset hasn't been set. Because here we set only the offset of the sprite that is being clicked. But we want to set the offset of all the sprites that are selected. So we have to. I will set by default the sprite I have clicked on to selected. That won't change, but I want to pick every sprite that have the selected boolean set to true. So I will do something like pick all. Okay, I'm not in the right one. Pick all sprites, and then I will filter by is selected and set the offset. Let's see. Okay, that's working great. Okay. What happens if I do that and then that? In basic UI, when you do that, you're selecting object and then you click here, it should deselect these objects and select only this one. What is the difference between doing that, and doing that and that? What is the difference between clicking on an object that is already selected and clicking on an object that is not? That's exactly what I said. That the object you are clicking on, if selecting or not, will change the behavior of the rest. So there's a difference between that and that. Be careful with the else. The else doesn't do picking. In short, you can't do if something is selected, do that, else apply something to all that is not selected. That won't work like that. If there's at least one sprite that is selected here, this event will never trigger. Even if you have sprites that aren't selected, it won't trigger. That's not picking aware. That's just a logical else. This event triggers, this one doesn't. That's all. So in here, actually, if in here, that's a good thing, I believe. I believe that's a good. And I think if the sprite is selected, the sprite you are clicking on, if it's selected, we don't have to do anything. So we don't really need that. We'll just do that. Not selected. You want to unselect all and select this object. Now, to unselect all, you can do pick all, select to false, and then it will work. Okay, this one worked, this one worked, and this working. Okay, but I'm starting to. Oh, that's quite okay. But the habits I tend to have is to use